Welcome, Keith. It's so lovely to talk to you today from Cyprus to Carolina in the US. How are
Yeah,
you?
I'm doing fantastic.
And I'm so happy to hear a little bit from your, like a little bit of feedback of how it has been to work with me.
Yeah.
So if you would share, like, what were your main issues basically when we met, when you found me, basically? What resonated with you and what was going on in your life and in your business?
Yeah. So it's interesting. I reached out to you, Lydia. I don't know if you remember, but right when I left the normal working world and started my journey as an entrepreneur. And I think your message had been appearing a few times on LinkedIn. And there's something about it that appealed to me because it was counter to what we're normally taught. It's been a couple of years. So I think I was 46 when we first talked. And I had hustled and pushed and stressed and strived, since I was 5, since I started school, right? Get straight A's every single year, study hard, stay up late, you will reach the top of the mountain this way. And you suggested there was another way to go about it. And that was really appealing to me uh, because the way I'd gone about life and the way I'd gone about work to that point hadn't really worked for me. I wasn't enjoying my days. It was like constantly running for the thing that you can never quite get to. I thought, where's this finish line? Where's this magical finish line when I get to be happy and at ease and I get to slow down and enjoy my life? The other thing that appealed to me was there was something about you calling it mindset mastery for entrepreneurs. And one of my first coaches, his name was Fareed, is the first person to introduce me to the concept of mindset. And we worked around abundance. And so he gave me a sneak peek. And I got the idea that you were going to show me a whole new world. And to say that you have shown me a whole new world and changed my life entirely is, I am not exaggerating, one iota. The work you and I have done is right up there with deep therapy work I've done and other work on myself. It has utterly changed my life experience, and my business has prospered because of it.
So thank you for that lovely feedback. And
Welcome.
perhaps give us like 2 or 3 main massive changes in your life through the work.
Sure. One of the big lessons that's paid it off significantly for me is that the inner work comes first, that your life experience is not determined by the things that are external to you, that in fact, what you like to remind me is that circumstances are neutral. You helped me take back so much of my power that I was giving away, letting other humans or other events, the weather, the breeze, I mean, you name it, could knock me off my sort of peaceful state. And then I got to take all that back. And I got to work on learning how to stay in a good place myself, regardless of what was going on around me, and then enjoy the good things that happen, but not need those to feel good. So there's a handful of formative things we did together. Choosing target energy has been huge. I continue to pass that along and teach it to my clients, to say that in order to be wealthy, you have to learn to feel wealthy. No one teaches you that. In order to have a peaceful life, you need to learn how to feel peace. You don't need to get the parts around you in order so then you can feel peace. It doesn't work that way. But we don't get taught that. No one gets taught to do that kind of inner work. In addition, you took the idea of trauma and early childhood damage to an entirely different level for me. Learning how to speak to my inner child is something no therapist ever taught me. Learning that as a child, we're all traumatized by both of our parents, not just one of them. And that's okay. It doesn't make them bad parents. It's just that parenting is really hard. In fact, growing up is really hard. And there's things we need to go back and heal that are still echoing today. So I think those were 2 of the biggest things we worked on: learning how to hold the energy the way you want to feel, and learning how to heal and deal with that emotional baggage that's an impediment to your growth. Those are huge. I continue to grow in those areas. Now I teach those things, which is really cool.
No, I love that. And so how would you say has your day-to-day changed from before, where you said you were always hustling and striving and working hard? So how does your life look now?
Here's the best example. So on a day-to-day basis, this is very basic, but I think if they see my body language, they'll understand it, right? I remember coming back from a weekend off, and this was when I was an entrepreneur, and I knew I had work to get to, and it was a Monday, and I bunched up and I got tight, and it was, oh no, there's going to be emails and messages, and there's going to be voicemails, and what if there's an unhappy client in there, and what if I forgot to pay a business bill? All that's building up just like it did in corporate. In corporate, we call them the Sunday dreads or the Monday miseries. We hate going back because we think there's going to be a grenade in our inbox. And as I was getting ready to work on that Monday, I realized I have a choice, that work is going to be there, and that work is neutral. I can show up however I want to, and a switch flipped and I became relaxed and at ease and chilled out because that was my choice. And as I have worked on that, I call it a circuit breaker, that little pop where you shift. I've gotten faster and faster at doing that, and I do it all the time now, which means I can say these magic words. And I said it to my therapist the other day. She said, "How are you doing?" I said, "I'm at peace." And her eyes got big and my eyes got big. And I said, "Did I just say that?" Think about how many adults on this planet would love to say, "Yeah, most of the time I'm at peace." Not because my life is perfect, and not because my business is perfect or my family is perfect or my kids are perfect, but because I've learned how to handle the imperfections of life with my mental skills. And I think you and I have been working together, is it a year and a half, 2 years? It's been a long time. And unbelievable, the change. I'm an entirely different human being having an entirely different experience.
I love that. And does the work did the work that you did on yourself have also like a difference on the relationships you have, like partner, family members?
The impact, it's interesting, right? Because when we become adults, we're taught to be so selfless, almost to a fault, I think, right? Take care of your family, make sacrifices, give, give, give. We don't slow down to work on ourselves. But the paradox is when we slow down to work on ourselves and show up better, all those areas of our life improve. So my business absolutely has improved. But the most joyful thing has been my relationship with my mother, with my wife, with my two sons. Absolutely incredible. I see them differently than I did before you and I started working together. I understand their behavior and I understand my response. And it's almost this meta superpower where you can observe the family interactions and structure and understand what's going on. And I can show up as a better husband, as a better father. And I show up as a better son to my mom. That work we did on the mother wound and the father wound, phenomenal in understanding not just my perspective, but my mom's perspective and my father's perspective, and taking other people's perspective so that you can heal and then be a better person to your family. I mean, come on, that's priceless.
Oh, I love that. You're a perfect example for the work, by the way. So I have two more questions. So the second to last question is, can you give a short overview about how you do business differently when it comes to work hours, when it comes to prices?
Oh, sure.
Because when we started working, you were fully booked and you had a ton of clients, and it was the question like, how is this? How can I scale this? Like, how do I duplicate myself, basically? Lots of stress.
Yeah. With regard to my business, the most powerful thing that you've taught me is to question everything I've ever learned and every assumption that I've ever made, that I don't have to follow the de facto approach to working, to building a business, to sales, to delivery. I can do it all in a way that aligns with me. And that's incredibly freeing, because I think a lot of people spend all their time chasing what works for others and it never works for them. And so for me, to have the confidence to raise my prices and not bat an eyelash, to set massive boundaries around my free time. See, I think most people think, I'm an entrepreneur, I need to get married to my business. Why would I want to do that? I was married to my corporate job. I wanted to work 20 hours a week. I wanted Mondays off. I wanted 1 week off a month. I wanted 12 weeks of vacation. No one had to give me permission to do that. But you had to tell me it's okay to think that way, and that my life won't go down in flames, that we can make that. And when you start realizing you can bend the rules or break the rules, that's so empowering, right? So when I work, I'm aligned and joyful. I freaking love what I do. I have a ton of free time. In 2 years, I've made $500,000. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. That's my top line revenue. The numbers speak for themselves, right? It's the most pleasant and enjoyable way to run a business. And if you and I hadn't worked together to deconstruct all my assumptions and all my old patterns, I would probably be miserable and wonder, what the heck did I do? Because entrepreneurship is not easy. I'm not telling you it's a walk in the park, but I'm saying the skills I've developed have made it much easier for me to succeed with less effort and more ease and more grace. It lets me show up for my clients better. I'm not carrying stress to my family, so it's the work you and I have done. I can't believe this is the entrepreneurship experience. And it wouldn't be like this if you hadn't taught me that it could be like this. It's really cool.
Thank you. I love that. So last question, would you recommend to others working with me? Was it worth the investment for you? Would you do it again?
Well, clearly, since I keep renewing and I don't have any intentions of not renewing anytime soon. Yeah, working with you, Lydia, and it's been a very, very special experience. I am big on intuition. I really do believe people are put into our lives. All my coaches popped up on LinkedIn, and I followed my instinct and I said, I want to talk to you. And all three of the coaches I've had have been absolutely phenomenal. And your vibration and your spirit appealed greatly to me. And I love that we're working together. I plan to continue working together. I would not hesitate to tell someone to hire you immediately for whatever your current price is. Just be ready to do the work, be ready to shed some tears, be ready to look in the mirror, because you have to do some work, right? But it's a total blessing. You will feel amazing. You will learn so much about yourself, with no equivocations. If you're thinking about hiring Lydia Wilmsen, my good friend from Europe, go for it.
Thank you so much for taking the time and sharing so many amazing things. Thank you,
You're
Keith.
welcome.